Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and we are here with day 66 of Coffee and MTG, the morning magic show where you get to ask questions. I'm going to bring the answers. Let's have a great discussion. And of course, that's for the first 30 minutes. And the next 30 minutes, we finish it off with deck list review. If you got a weird brew, if you want some clarity on your deck list, your build, how to improve it, how to take it to the next level, please submit it, and we're going to talk about it today. But right now, we're going to start off with Q&A, and we have great discussions every single day on this show, wherever you are. If it's the morning, afternoon, or evening, you brew up yourself a cup of magic, and let's have a great conversation as we do every single day. And we have the morning fam here, the morning fish fam. Kyoka 620 is already here. Anyone here at 12 fish fam pool? I don't know. We got plenty of people. We got Quan Morris. By the way, Nico, like 1 minute before you start talking, because the start always clips you talking mid chat. Well, I don't know. In the replay, it seems to be okay. Maybe maybe live it's a problem, but in the replay, it's all good. Good morning, Jade45. I might post a legitimate deck list today. Oh, that would be very interesting. It's very interesting when I offered these deck list reviews. I always thought, oh, I'm gonna get like, tier 1 archetypes with some sort of bizarre new idea, and instead we just get complete brews. It's just brew after brew after brew every single day. Some of them very interesting. And I have received a lot of feedback in the comment section on YouTube about people who grab other people's lists and to try to develop them from there. So it stimulates a lot of creativity and a lot of innovation. So it's very possible that some of these decks can become a real thing in the long run, as it perks the interest of a lot of other players who watch the show. Yeah, so like I should have a 1 to 2 minute Nikachu song. I mean, that's possible. I could have some intro or something. Oh, great. So everyone's got Brewski returns. It's coming back with a list. Lord Magicus, good morrow. That sounds like a merfolk thing someone would say. So get ready. We already had a lot of big news yesterday, and I'm curious to know how that has affected everybody. Is anyone playing more Pioneer? Have you dived right back into the Pioneer scene? Maybe you're playing Standard. I've heard a lot of really good feedback on the internet about Standard. Everyone is having a great time in Standard, which also suggests probably they should be more aggressive with bannings in Standard, in my opinion, because like Standard, as everyone knows, gets pretty stale, and who really gets hurt by the bannings? Like the most top tier of tier players, I think, for the most part, get most affected by the bannings. And at the very least, even if you ban certain cards, you might still have a shell to work with anyway. I mean, very rarely does a banning completely ban a deck out of existence. Like, for example, they banned the cat from the Cat Oven deck, and I don't play the deck personally, and I'm not part of the Standard environment, but from what I hear, there are some potential substitutes to that cat that will keep they'll put something else in the oven, basically, to make the oven deck still work in Standard. Maybe not as good, obviously, as it was before, but, still a playable deck. Pioneer is fun now. So, I mean, okay, like I said, they rarely ban decks out of existence, except for when it comes to Pioneer. They ban the decks out of existence. They just axe them all away. Okay, goodbye Inverter, goodbye Lotus Breach, goodbye Heliod Ballista combo, and goodbye Kethis. So, like, they just said, no more combo. We're not okay with combo. We said we were okay with combo. Now we're not okay with combo. They're all gonna screw off, so goodbye to the combo. Good morning, Artemin Shakov. Well, I don't know. Submit something to me, and I'll see how I like it. I'm a bit touchy about it, like any sort of music that's on my channel. As you hear, we don't really actually have a whole lot of music. I have like a slight introduction, but that's about it on a lot of my other videos. Simic Atlantis, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Blue. Good morning, Rodent. Good morning. Love the YouTube content. Finally got to see a stream. Welcome. Welcome, G Snowman 1. Welcome to the... Yeah, and and just be you got to follow G Snowman One's lead, and you got to be part of the show. And if you want to be part of the show, don't forget you can be here. Anyone can be here. We do this every day. Twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG, and you can catch it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. This is still going to be the schedule going into August. Definitely is going to change going into September, but right now this is definitely the schedule. And if you're watching in the like if you're watching this like on the replay somewhere deep in the future, you can always check the description up for the current schedule. Find links for the schedule. But anyway, yeah, come on, join the show. Be part of the action. Just like G Snowman 1. Oh, Artemin Shakov. No, Pioneer does not equal Modern. Those are two different formats. Pioneer is up to is the set Return to Ravnica and later, and then Modern. I don't know where it starts. I want to say it's like starts at 8th edition or something. But somewhere close. It's like it's way further back in time. Basically, is it exactly 8th edition? So Lord Magicka says 8th edition is the origin of Modern, and I tend to believe it because that's the furthest back core set that I know is legal. But I just didn't know if there was like an actual set before that qualified. So those are two completely different formats. One being way more powerful than the other because of the card pool. It reminds me of how mathematics was pre-internet, actually. There was like this one guy who traveled everywhere sharing ideas. Oh yeah, so referring to the Decklist thing, this is how ideas get developed. So someone will post some weird idea, and then other people can say, do you know what? There is actually something to this. We should develop it and see where it can go from there. I mean, this is what happened with Lantern Control. Lantern Control originally was just a pile of nonsense. It was just a pile of crap. And then it was, what's his name? Who's the guy who developed Lantern Control? Someone out there's got to know the name. The name's escaping me right now. I just can't remember. If anyone watches the show, I'm not very good with names, to be honest. Good morning, El Rodeo-san. But anyway, the point was that like a particularly prominent player, or who became prominent actually because of the development of Lantern Control, found the list in a forum and said, let's turn this into something, and then turned out to be like super OP. And you made like the finals of a Grand Prix. Then you made the finals of another Grand Prix. Yeah, Zach Elsick. There we go. That's the name. This is the person who basically took Lantern Control from a forum. It was just a deck idea that some people have tried to develop, but they weren't good enough to take it to another level. But Zach Elsick says, do you know what? There's actually something to this. I want to develop this archetype, and then developed it to something that was completely tier 1, but maybe tier 0 actually, to be honest, because so few people played this archetype, but the win rates were like off the chart. And it wasn't until Krark Clan Ironworks came by, which was a significantly better artifact deck, which utilized the graveyard, and also like the point of Lantern Control was to put your best cards into your graveyard, but it doesn't really work so well when the graveyard is now a resource. Putting Uros in your opponent's graveyard, not really where you want to be. Same thing with like dredge cards. So I think that was the real demise of Lantern Control. And now, of course, there's Krark Clan Ironworks and Mox Opal's banning, so like now it's super banned. But like, hey, it all starts with an idea, and then someone else develops it. And those ideas can start here. That's for sure. Quen Morris, why do you think Blackmail sees almost no modern play? I put it on par with Thoughtseize. Let's go check it out. I don't even know what this is. And it is modern legal. So target player reveals 3 cards from his or her hand, and you choose one of those cards. That player discards that card. So you get what so the problem is, you give your opponent the option what to lose. They'll just if like for example, Thoughtseize turn 1, you can take the best card out of their hand. Most importantly, maybe key combo pieces or very key parts of their curve. Like maybe they have a lot of 1-drops, or sorry, maybe they have like one 1-drop, one 2-drop, and a bunch of 3-drops and 4-drops. You might want to take one of the 2-drops so that they basically have nothing to do on turn 2. But with blackmail, what will end up happening is they'll hide their key combo pieces, or they'll give you the cards that are not so relevant. Like they would give you your pick of one of 3 4-drops, like whatever. Okay, take whatever one you want. I'm going to keep the earlier part of my curve in my hand and protect it from it. So blackmail, not even close to the same par of Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek or anything like that. Later in the game, it becomes better, but not early in the game, which is where you want to be with Thoughtseize. Great question, but this is why this card definitely doesn't see any play. Good morning, Niels Nielsen. I'm super salty that they banned Ballista over Heliod. I bought 8 Animal Sanctuary for Hardened Scales. So yeah, so that was that's a pretty big beating for the Hardened Scales deck in Pioneer. They lost one of their best cards, and I think this gives a lot more weight to the argument, which has always been floated around for like many years, that if a card needs to be banned, they will ban the older card. They will not ban newer cards. You know, basically to sell packs, to also it's also good for consumer confidence. They don't want to ban the newer cards, not only just to sell packs, but to ensure that if you buy a box, I mean, it's in the same category. If you buy a box and you open a Heliod, that you get to play it for who knows how long. So for all those reasons, they seem to, unless they really have to, like in the situation of Oko, they will not ban the newer card. I will admit, Walking Ballista is not really a bannable looking card, but at the same time, they have to deal with the combo one way or another. And to be honest, I just hate Walking Ballista. I think a lot of people hate Walking Ballista. And what we also learned in this BNR announcement is they openly said that the community has an influence over the bannings. They openly said that. No one gives a shit about Heliod. No one really cares. It's not a busted card in its own right. It's only busted because of Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista is a fucking pain in the ass. Nobody likes Walking Ballista. Nobody. Unless you're playing with the card. But it snipes down your early stuff, and it's like a really good late game bomb. It's very frustrating. And it definitely puts deck building restrictions on you. Now that Ballista is banned, basically there is a lot more room to play with 1 toughness creatures in the format. A lot more room. What? Master of Waves? Master of Waves is unbanned as far as I'm concerned. Master of Waves. Link your SoundCloud. I don't know. Well, first off, I don't use SoundCloud, so I don't know about those integrations. I'm really hesitant about using music with Twitch because they're like very harshly like, you know, like banning accounts over using music, even if you're allowed to. Good morning, Dexter Johnson. In Pioneer, I think the Heliod deck can survive as a Devotion and or Soul Sisters deck. Oh, absolutely. It just won't be like Mono White Devotion is still on the table. Make no mistake about that. It is just that it will no longer have a turn 2 kill. So you can be more confident tapping out against a deck like that to compete with their aggro starts and their Devotion. You don't have to be holding up mana for the combo, or you do not have to have weird sideboard cards like what's it called? Sorcerous Spyglass naming Walking Ballista to deal with a combo that you don't really want to deal with. Because the problem is that it's like it should be an aggro versus aggro deck, or Devotion versus whatever, but you have to respect the combo. And that's the main issue. That's always going to be the main issue with decks like that. Because or if you don't respect it, you just lose out of nowhere. And that's not fun. That's just not fun at all. Atlantis is coming to the US East Coast right now. I don't know what on earth that was in reference to. Good morning. Here in Spain, it's 1810. Good morning, Zors. Good morning, 101 Nick. Good morning, Thomas. Everyone's sporting the chubby meatball. Oh, look, the chubby meatball is twisted the other way. I don't know how you people do this with the emotes. The emotes, they like change positions. They've got like fingers up their nose and stuff like that. Are you saying Dinosaur Tribal is actually a tier 1 deck, but no one has refined it yet? Could be. Well, I'm not saying that there. I am saying I'm not saying Dinosaur Tribal necessarily is tier 1 in like waiting in the weeds, but I am saying that there are tier 1 decks out there that haven't been discovered yet. Modern is not solved to the degree that a lot of people believe. There is a lot of innovation to be had and still to be seen. And with that, I'm going to take a delicious sip of my coffee. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is Coffee and MTG with Nikachu. We're here doing Q&A, and when we're done Q&A, we'll do some deck list review. If you have any questions, don't forget to @Nikachu MTG or 3 question marks before your question, 3 question marks after your question. Helps me find your questions. Good morning, Arcane Mystic. Arcane Mystic says, I'm happy Teferi is gone in Historic so I can keep playing Mono Blue Wizards. Was it holding back Mono Blue Wizards? I know it was holding back Mono Blue Tempo, but I think Wizards had a lot of game against that Teferi. But I don't know your build. Maybe you had more instance than I would have thought. Video game soundtracks are safe because, well, Twitch as a platform stops working if game music gets caught. That's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. I can tell you firsthand that if I play any Nintendo game on YouTube, I get copyright strikes. They say like you can't have the music. Any Nintendo music gets a copyright strike, so I can't monetize any of those videos. I mean, I can have the videos playing, but I don't get any ad revenue whenever I played a Nintendo game. Even if it was like muffled, it didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything. Oh, the powerful tropical storm is on the way. Oh, so everyone can use the channel points to use the emotes. Interesting. Just like what Thomas is doing here. Where is this? Chubby Meatball picking her nose. What would it take for Tron to be unplayable in Modern? Like, what do you mean by Tron? Classic Control Tron? Or are you talking Eldrazi Tron? Because Eldrazi Tron... Well, I mean, like, in general, to make Tron unplayable, you have to... regular Tron? I mean, you have to ban the Tron lands. This is really nothing you can do about it. There are way too many cards that Tron can use in their toolbox in order to be a tier deck. I mean, you can I don't know, if you banned any 3 random cards, it'll more or less still be a deck. I mean, you can soft ban it by making Eldrazi Tron so good that you just be a stupid idiot for playing like normal Tron. I mean, that's one way of doing it as well, but I think in general Tron will always be in the format so long as the Tron lands exist. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard to actually ban that deck out of the format because there will be always something to sink, like a 7, 8, 9, 10 mana into some random artifact or something like that. Always. There will always be something. Oh, Squat Chief is back. Welcome. Since when you were banned? You were never banned. Who banned him? This guy just... You don't ban Squat Chief. Or I'm going to give him... like, didn't I give you mod powers? How can the mod get banned? I swore I made him a mod. Oh, thank you very much to... Arcane Mystic, who just subscribed at tier 1. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining the wave. I gotta put the wave alert here. I mean, this is not an alert. This is just a random picture here, but I still should have a wave thing here for everyone. Thank you for joining the wave, supporting Coffee and MTG, supporting the morning talk show. People love being here. I love that you're also here. So, while we're already almost at halftime, I'd love to thank my sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, with podcasts on Commander, with MTG Arena, standard content, modern, and more. The Mana Base is your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And Mana Traders, the premier place online to rent Magic cards. You can support the channel by renting cards from them with my link in the description below, or you can sign up with them with the coupon code Nikachu to get 20% off your first 3 months. We're going to thank Mana Traders for being our sponsor. So, moving along, a lot of cool stuff. Oh, we got 101 Nick also subscribed for 2 months in a row. Thank you very much. Using Prime, take my Bezos bucks, he says. Absolutely. I will absolutely. Thank you very much for giving me Bezos's money. Money getting redistributed to the streamers down here. Thank you very much, 101 Nick, for subscribing, for riding the wave 2 months in a row. At this point, I probably know the mana base ad by heart just as well as Nikachu. Yeah, it's possible. But do you know every get dunked on instant replay? That's more tricky. That's difficult. That takes like a lot. You have to be a really old fan of Nikachu MTG for that. Saying a format is solved always irritated me. Yeah, I mean that's true. I find it. I don't think you can say like any big format is solved. That like any format with a large card pool still has a lot of room for innovation. There's still innovation in Legacy, there's still innovation in Modern, and there most definitely should still be innovation in Pioneer. But just remember, the innovation costs money. It's way harder to innovate. Unless you got a Mana Traders account, then you just rent the cards and innovate all you want. But aside from that, it still takes time. You still have to enter the tournaments, and it's costly. So it's difficult to innovate. It's not impossible, but you got to be the right person, and usually you got to be a strong player like Zach Elsick, who can take those decks to a competitive level. It's difficult. It's difficult. Not easy out there. Brian Jin asks, do you think Fraying Sanity plus Traumatized could be tier 1 in Pioneer? I believe I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the let's look it up. So off the bat, yes, I do think so. So Fraying Sanity says, enchanted player at the beginning of each end step, enchanted player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the number of cards put into that graveyard from anywhere this turn. And then there is Traumatize. Oops. This is probably how you spell it. Traumatize, 5 mana sorcery. Target player puts the top half of his or her library rounded down into their graveyard. So they dump half. Whoops. Let me show you. So they dump half their deck into their graveyard, and then a Fraying Sanity basically says you double it, right? Where X is the number of cards put into that graveyard from anywhere this turn. So the deal is this. I don't know if this can go in a dedicated mill deck, but it could go into a control deck. I have seen control decks use this as a win condition, as like a random win condition. Can you target a player with Traumatized target player? So theoretically, you could target yourself with this for some reason to use your graveyard as a resource. And then when you actually go for the kill, you combine it with Fraying Sanity against your opponent. So the only double-edged sword here is that, again, everyone uses their graveyard as a resource, so it could actually backfire. So when you like dump their deck into their graveyard, you better be killing them. You better be basically killing them right then in that turn. So is it possible? Absolutely. I don't know if it would go in a strict mill deck, but maybe as a potential win condition in some sort of control deck, yes, I think it's possible. It is definitely possible. Zombie Tribal is doing really well for me the way I have built it. I've been winning games left and right, but I think it's due to the neglect of graveyard hate. Well, do you know what? Take advantage of it while you can, and that happens. Sometimes there's a lot of artifact hate, and then the artifact decks can't survive, but then there's no artifact hate, and the artifact decks are thriving. So, take advantage of the metagame as it is right now. Thinking about playing any Pioneer with the shakeup? Yes and no. Like, I'm really addicted to Modern right now. I feel like I have some momentum now with my new Simic Copter list, which I just got 5-0. I got a 5-0. Dracanar, a patron of mine, he just went 5-0. So we're getting 5-0s with the Simic list, and I want to ride this momentum for a little while, but I definitely want to get back into Pioneer, either playing... Originally I bought into Spirits, but I wouldn't mind going back to the Wizard deck, Mono Blue Devotion, if Mono Blue Devotion is actually a thing. But I did buy into the Spirits deck in Pioneer. I still got the cards. I didn't do anything with them, and they're gathering dust. So we're definitely going to play some Pioneer. at least some in the near future. It's just hard to balance all the formats because we got also the Mana Trader Legacy series coming up in August, so I got to devote some time to Legacy. So it's hard to juggle everything. If I play too many formats, then I end up doing really shitty at all of them. So I like being devoted to certain formats. Tron will always be a degenerate 7 mana turn 3 play. Here's the real question. Okay, here's the real question to everybody. Let's say theoretically they ban one of the Tron lands. Do they ban one? Or do they just ban all 3 because basically they're useless individually? What's everyone's take on that? So on the banning of Tron, would they ban all 3 just like they did with the artifact lands, or do they just ban one? JDX the Kid says you've got to ban all 3 of them. Banning just Tower is the best troll ever. That's possible. Quan Moore says 1. Monster CC, all 3, they will never ban Tron, though. Well, we're just talking theoretically. Dexter Johnson's on 3. Lav Fluff, Lav Fluff also all on 3. Oh yeah, ban all 3 so people don't do construction mistakes. That's a good point. That's possible. What's the point if you don't ban all of them? Well, I mean, you effectively ban all of them if you just ban one, but it's just weird. I mean, I guess it's weird in 2 ways. So which way do you want to be weird? You want to be weird by banning 2 irrelevant cards, 2 more irrelevant cards, or do you look weird by banning all 3 of them? It's not about banning the lands, it's about sending a message. Says stay slapped. You could just confuse people by putting random Tron lands. What do you mean in the deck? Like Tower is banned, but you still play with like Mine and Power Plant, threatening turn 3 Tron when really it's banned. That's possible. I wonder if they could restrict them all. Ooh, yeah. Well, like that would be pretty. They would be pretty useless. There's no point in it. There'd be no point. Because like the 1 Ghost Quarter and that's it. It's over. It's just over. Just over. You're Lav Fuff. Have you ever played Pauper? And if so, what deck? No. It's a pony format. I've not played. I just can't devote any time to that format. There are some cool looking decks. Like I wouldn't mind playing any like mono blue tempo-y sort of deck, and I know it exists there. But I just cannot devote any time. Like we were just talking a little while ago. Like gotta play Modern, Legacy, Pioneer. Too many formats, so I don't play Pauper at all. I am playing a little bit of Commander lately, so that is enough pony formats for the rest of my lifetime. Ugly Hood Rat. Why is Standard considered stale when Modern never rotates and same stuff? Why is it treated the same? Because when Standard is stale, it is stale because there's only like 2 to 3 decks in the format at a competitive level. Whereas with Modern, there is still like 40 decks, with 20 of them being like more represented than the others. But still, there is a lot of diversity. There is like even though it's stale, even though you play against the same 10 decks, it's like tolerable. Like I can still binge Modern for basically eternity. But if you play Standard and you're playing against the same 2 to 3 decks over and over again, that gets boring real quickly. So anyway, that is the very big that's the biggest difference between Modern and Standard. And I don't know if Modern is treated the same way as Standard is. I think they're treated a little bit differently. Did I miss any questions? Oh, by the way, for the record, Pauper is a very popular, great format. I know a lot of I know a lot of people really like Pauper, but no, I just cannot get into this format. It is being supported now at a competitive level by Wizards of the Coast and on multiple clients, both on MTG Arena and also actually, is it being supported competitively on Arena? I don't know because I'm not that deeply into the Pauper format, but I know it is. There are like there are weekend events for Pauper on Magic the Gathering Online. So I mean, it is a route to the Pro Tour. It's pretty serious. But like, I was thinking about it. Why do I still think it's a pony format? The culture didn't change really. So like, it just like barely squeaked in as a competitive format. But the culture of the players that play Pauper have not changed very much. Like, do you ever hear Reed Duke say, "Oh, I'm sleeving up for the Pauper challenge this weekend"? Do you hear like Brad Nelson talk about his latest Pauper list? Do you hear about Brian Braun-Duin talking about like preparing for the Pauper event in the weekend, this and that? Like the big people don't play Pauper. So like the most competitive players, they don't care that much about Pauper. So even though it's sort of turned into, it is technically like a competitive format, the culture of Pauper didn't change, and it's like still deeply in the competitive realm, basically. Even though a lot of people are like, where is it? I saw some comment here. Yeah, you hear the prof. I know. Well, prof doesn't play on the Pro Tour though. Prof does. I love the prof, but does not play on the Pro Tour. That's for sure. Yeah, like Mengu has once. It needs to happen way more often than that. Way more often. The pros at the very least, they very consistently play modern, play legacy, even vintage actually. They play standard, and they're likely going to be playing pioneer. They all prepared for the historic event. A lot of people ask me, is historic a pony format? I said, no, that is going to be a wizard supported format. They're going to help you get to the Pro Tour with real cash, like serious cash prizes. And we saw the pros come out in very big numbers to play that event. It's a different culture. It's a completely different culture. It's a harsh competitive culture out there. Speaking of legacy, thoughts on Turbo Muxus? Looks like an insane deck. I don't have any thoughts because I've never seen it. I heard Muxus is seen playing in Legacy, but I didn't know that there is like some sort of combo deck sort of like built around the card. Urza's hot dog stand. I don't know where this is in reference to, but it makes me smile. Oh, you people crack me up. Quinn Morris says, since we're talking about Tron, this is an old deck of mine. Don't read it if you don't have time. But yeah, thanks for sharing the Tron deck. Turbo Muxus is fantastic. What is everyone's opinion about Turbo Muxus? I don't like the sound of Turbo Muxus. This sounds terrible. It sounds absolutely atrocious. Muxus, period, is a problem. Getting it, like, ramping it out is even more ridiculous. Glizzy Gladiator. Good morning, Mikey J. Oh, it was a suggestion for the name of the new Urza lands that tap for less mana, so they're less grandiose lands. Oh yeah, gotcha. Urza Gobbling a Glizzy. Let's play Magic now? Well, what are you guys talking about? Well, it's all good. Yeah, exactly. Tron, Turbo Muxus. This explains it perfectly. Good morning, Olaf the Snowman. So I think right now is a good time for a deck list review. So if you have any deck list that you want some clarity on, now is the time that you can post them in the comment sec or post your lists, and we can let's have some great conversation. Let's see if we can review anything. All right, so look how prepared everyone is. All right, so let's get to them quickly, because I know there's a lot of people with lag that post a list, because I say, all right, time to post the deck list review, but they hear it 20 seconds later, so the people who have like the least lag get advantaged. And I might pick out some deck list to review from people who I've never recognized their name before. I would love to, because I know there's a lot of, you guys are all regulars here. I've definitely reviewed more than one list before. Okay, so let's see. This is from... Where is this from? This is Mike Coan Morris. It's called Happy Hanukkah. It's very early for Hanukkah, but all right. So what do we got here? You have Barren Moor, Blast Zone, Bajuka Bog, Cascading Cataracts, Forest, Ghost Quarter, Hissing Quagmire, Radiant Fountain, Swamp. Only one of every Urza land, though. A Boreal Grazier, Courser of Krufix, Nisa, Sylvan Advocate. As long as you control 6 more lands, Sylvan Advocate. And land creatures you control get +2/+2. The Gitrog Monster. Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog Monster unless you sacrifice a land. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever one or more lands are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. That's interesting. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. Tireless Tracker. Probably just a better card, honestly, than the Gitrog Monster. Although it costs more mana. Worldbreaker. Delirium Skeins. Each player discards 3 cards. Life from the Loam, Raven's Crime, Siphon Life. Target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, but as retrace. So the idea is you keep like discarding lands and you can keep using this. And Worm Harvest also has retrace. Put a 1/1 black-green worm creature token into the battlefield for each land card in your graveyard. Okay, neat. Realms Uncharted. Search your library for 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of them. Put the chosen cards in your graveyard and the rest into your hand. So it's like fact or fiction for lands. Actually, it's like gifts on... No, sorry. It's gifts ungiven for lands. Same pose. Same exact pose. They just line down there. 1 Nisa Vital Force. But this is only lands. So my problem with this list so far is it's full of one-ofs. It's not consistent at all. Like, it's just... Okay, I can understand the lands as one-ofs because you've got tutor packages for them. But outside of that, you have, like, what's with the 1 Courser of Krufix? Okay, 2 Nisa, it's legendary, whatever. Sylvan Advocate? I don't think it's worth it in this list. It's just a random creature, and it's not really... I don't think it's doing that much for you for 2 mana. And ideally, you're going to be... You want to have things on 1 mana or on 3 mana, because you're going to start off with a Boreal Grazer, and then you, like, just ramp immediately into Tireless Tracker. I think the Sylvan Advocate is... It's nothing special. This is it's nothing special. So there are some cards I think you should be looking into if you really want to take this deck seriously. One of them could be Primeval Titan. Another one, you could just play more Tireless Trackers. I think this is a very serious card. Tireless Tracker, if you play this on turn 4 with 3 lands in play and start playing lands, this card is very serious very quickly. It draws a lot of cards. And of course... Life from the Loam is okay. But, like, how do you even get this thing off? I don't even know if you need Life from the Loam. I don't even know how you get this in the graveyard. You don't necessarily just need to play Amulet. Like, I understand this deck. But you need, like, the one-ofs with lands, okay, I can buy it. But you can't have one-ofs like this. Worldbreaker is fine. It's a very strong card. I would have more Tireless Trackers and a lot less Nisa Vastwood Seers. Or sorry, not Nisa, sorry. Sylvan Advocates. Gitrog Monster doesn't seem necessary. How can we change the sorceries? Raven's Crime. I don't think this deck wants that card. Like, when do you have time to play this? If anything, you should have more Siphon Lives. Like, how do you win this game? Probably with cards like this, right? Yeah, more Coursers too. Courser is good. Courser is good value. How else can we ramp on turn 1 without using a Mana Dork? Or maybe is a Boreal Grazer the only way to do it? If anything, instead of Sylvan Advocate, it should just be Explore, draw a card, and play another land drop this turn, right? Well, like, Siphon might be too expensive, but, I mean, this deck's playing a shitload of land, so who cares? Search for Tomorrow, there we go. Okay, so I would play Search for Tomorrow. I would definitely... Boreal Grazer's fine. Search for Tomorrow, and I want to see more things at the 3 mana slot. So more Courser of Crew fixes. Nisa is fine. More Tireless Trackers. Like, fuck the Gidrog monster. It's not important. This 5 mana card, 6/6 creature. Okay, whatever. If you want to have one of that, maybe it's fine. But I really think you should fill up on more Coursers, more Sylvan Advocate, less Sylvan Advocates, more Tireless Trackers, and then less Raven's Crime. The Siphon Life is fine. Here's the problem with Raven's Crime. You have no payoff with this. Like, the reason this card is played in, say, 8-rack is because they get a payoff from you not having any cards in your hand. But today in Modern, you're just going to make them discard their good cards. They're just going to put Uro in their graveyard and then just put it in play. Or you're going to help them fill their graveyard to get Uro in play. So it's not going to be as nearly as effective as you would think. Yeah, Life from the Loam probably doesn't matter in this deck. You want to put lands either into play or... Well, I understand, like, you want to get more lands in your hand to get value off of Siphon Life. And I don't want to change... Like, do you even have a payoff for the colorless mana for the Tron lands? I don't think so. There's not really even a payoff for you to have the Urza lands here. It should just be other lands, like more Hissing Quagmire, more Ghost Quarters, more Blast Zone. Having another Blast Zone, I think, would be good. A second Blast Zone would be better than having the Urza lands because you have no payoff with this colorless mana. So, and it's not clear that you want World Breaker over, say, Primeval Titan. Oh yeah, Field of the Dead. Even one Field of the Dead, as Bishark recommends, would be like significantly better than these Urza's Towers. So I mean, those I don't. If you want to play with Siphon Life, play more of these. Play with less Raven's Crime, or maybe if you just want this as a random one of, it's fine. And I'm not saying you have to play like a Titan Ramp strategy, but I think you get way more value out of like Courser of Crew fix. Like, it's a way better body than Sylvan Advocate. You gain more life. You play land. You play cards from the top of your library. And Tireless Tracker is incredible value as well. You may not need Secure Tribe Scout because these things can get shot. You know, they can get zapped or fatal pushed or whatever. That's why I like a Boreal Grazer. Enters the battlefield. You just play a land. You kill the Grazer. You still got the land drop. It's still fine. So maybe remove Life from the Loam. For maybe remove Life from the Loam for what was it called? Search for Tomorrow. Or get rid of each player discards 3 cards. Like, you don't have enough of these cards to make this strategy work. Like, it's just too unfocused. It's just not going to do what you want. You're just going to discard 3 cards and you're just going to get tempoed out of the game. Hold on, Realms Uncharted. Probably this should be, well, Nisa, Vital Force. You could probably have more of these if you just go on the mana ramp plan. You're not really a good land in the graveyard deck. You'd be much better off. Like, here's the thing. You got to choose one. Are you all about lands in the graveyard or lands on the battlefield? This is a lands on the battlefield card. This is a lands on the battlefield card. This is a lands on the battlefield card. This is sort of a lands on the battlefield card. This is also a lands on the battlefield card. This is a lands in your graveyard in your hand card. This is also a lands in your graveyard card. This is a lands in your graveyard card. They don't work together, so you gotta lose one of them. And honestly, I think you should be a lands on the battlefield card. That's why we have a lot of archetypes utilizing Tireless Tracker, Courser of Crew fix. You don't have Primeval Titan, maybe you don't need it. World Breaker is a fine card in itself, and you can always return it from the graveyard back to the battlefield. So I could buy this. So anyway, I would suggest you become more of a lands on the battlefield type of deck because this is you're split between two strategies way too hard, and get rid of the Urza lands. They're completely unnecessary. But thanks for sharing. I hope that was valuable. I hope that helped you out, gave you some clarity, and maybe move you in the right direction. Kyoka 620 is going to share a historic burn deck. Does Get Rog Monster plus Life from the Loam enable an infinite loop? Is that possible? If so, it's way too inconsistent. It's way like they're only one ofs. I mean, if there is a loop, if there actually is a combo, then go all in on the combo. You gotta be more all in. If you have a strategy, show it. You can't win with one ofs, basically. I'm trying to get the next deck to load Kyoka 620, but it's not showing up. Sorry, it's not reloading Kyoka 620. I'm sorry, it's not loading on Stream Decker. I have to move on. It's just this is what I'm seeing infinitely. So we're gonna move on to the other deck list from Rekindle 828. Naya mid-range 2.0. All right, let's see it. Wow, look at the price difference online versus paper. That's ridiculous. Wonder what cards are attributing to that. All right, Birds of Paradise, Stoneforge Mystic. Great idea, actually. Stoneforge Mystic. This is exactly the type of deck that would want to play it. Voice of Resurgence. I think that's a great card. Neither Reliquary, 4 Tireless Tracker, 2 Bloodbraid Elf, 4 Huntmaster of the Fells, 2 Chandra, Torch of Defiance, 3 Lightning Bolt, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Lightning Helix, Fire and Ice, and Batter Skull. And you've got your mana base, 3 Forest, 2 Mountain, 2 Plains, Raging Ravine. Do you have enough? Oh, it's Naya, so 3 Temple Garden. I'm just going to assume the mana base is fine. I'm not sure, but I won't criticize it. Bajuka Bog, Path to Exile, Veil of Summer, Damping Sphere, Gaddock Teague, Core Firewalker, 2 Lightning Helix, 2 Choke. That's good. Night of Autumn. These are actually all pretty good numbers. You might want one more Veil of Summer just because it's that good. It's honestly, it's really that good. It's just way too damn strong for... I think it's way too strong to be ignored. What you remove, maybe 1 Lightning Helix. Because, like, I don't know if you need this card. Maybe you do. Maybe the Veil of Summer is fine as 2, but, like, I would just put some more weight on a card that is probably going to get banned in Modern eventually, you know, like, and then you'll like be wondering, oh, why didn't I play 3 or 4 in the past? So one thing that sticks out to me is Huntmaster of the Fells is legendary. Oops, can we see Huntmaster properly? Come on, just showing. Oh, no, it's not legendary. Oh, I thought Huntmaster was legendary for some reason. Okay, screw everything I just said. It's a normal card. It's just a human werewolf. There are many Huntmaster of the Fells, not just one. Still, it looks a bit awkward as a 4-X and Bloodbraid Elf is only a 2-X. Now, I will say that I think Bloodbraid Elf is a pretty damn overrated card. This is not as good as people think. But at the same time, I think you've got really good hits in this deck. Like, this is a really good hit. Neither Reliquary is a great hit. Voice of Resurgence is a great hit. Stoneforge Mystic is a great hit. These are all great hits. Not to mention, you could just randomly put your Sword of Fire and Ice onto the battlefield. So, I actually think there should be more Bloodbraid Elves. Either maybe this should be a 3 of, maybe this should be a 3 of. Huntmaster is a bit clunky. Like, it's fine, but it's a pretty clunky card overall. Bloodbraid Elf is less clunky and gets more value. Now, another card that I really like in this list is Voice of Resurgence. I don't know how many there should be in this list, but I like that you have 2. It's going to make a lot of control decks play very honest. When you have a Voice of Resurgence on the battlefield and it's your turn, if they want to interact with you at all, it's going to cost them. They're going to have to, they're going to give you elementals. So I really do like Voice of Resurgence in this list. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, fantastic card. I hope. So I think you're fine on the 4-drop slot. You have 8 cards that are 4 drops, so that's very nice. Birds of Paradise probably should be Noble Hierarch. Probably should be Noble Hierarch. Do I think Gideon ally of Zendikar? Is it? Oh yeah, ally of Zendikar has a place. Probably not. I think. I mean, it could be in the sideboard, but if a deck can play Chandra Torch of Defiance, I think this is just better. It's great card advantage, kills creatures, adds mana, win condition by its it's basically win condition by itself. So I have a full belief in Chandra Torch of Defiance as a fantastic card to have at 4 mana. It's like another removal spell. It's really effective. So okay. So if I think you should be playing with Noble Hierarch, that would make everything way more dangerous, way more powerful. But I don't know. Maybe you really need that red mana so badly. This is a double red spell. It is a double red spell, but overall, you're mostly on 1 red, so all you need is Noble Hierarch and sorry, if you have Noble Hierarch in play, all you need is 1 red to basically play Bloodbraid Elf to play your Huntmaster of the Fells, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Helix, etc. And you have only 1 Lightning Helix here. So I think you're way heavier on white and green than you are on red, even though you have Chandra Torch of Defiance. Only a 2 of though. Only a 2 of. I love the list, actually. I think this is a cool list. I hope this does well for you. Of course, you can adjust these numbers as the metagame dictates. You could go more on... I would play 1 more Path to Exile over a Lightning Bolt just because it's more relevant. We're talking things like Uro and Tarmogoyf and Death Shadow. Very popular right now. Eldrazi. So I would go 1 less Lightning Bolt, 1 more Path to Exile. Or if you think Lightning Bolt is so important, maybe 1 less Lightning Helix, 1 more Path to Exile. I go to 4 Path to Exile. I think it's a Path to Exile format right now. Everything you want to kill is going to be way out of range of Lightning Bolt and Helix. And you want to exile it. So I would go to that. Those would be my suggestions. So I'm not super sure about Noble Hierarch over Birds of Paradise. Just consider it. Love the list. I think it's really cool. Good luck with it. So we're here with Coffee and MTG. Beautiful discussion. We're seeing old deck lists come back. Not only do people brew new deck lists, but we're also seeing the evolution of very old archetypes that have sometimes been forgotten. You can exile Uro and Shadow and hose them. It's very, very important. Try to get that Shadow back, Luris. Oh yeah, you can't do it, can you? Because the Death Shadow has been exiled. Screw you, Luris. Basically. Brian Jin. He's playing Golgar colorless midrange. I think that means Golgari. I think. Okay, so Eldrazi Temple. So it's like Eldrazi and Taxes mana, except instead of black-white, it's black-green, if I see this correctly. But going the Eldrazi route, nonetheless. All right, so 3 Liliana the Veil, Mattery Shaper, Reality Smasher, Tarmogoyf. That's interesting, actually. Tarmogoyf with the Eldrazi. 1 Tasigur the Golden Fang, Thought Not Seer, Assassin's Trophy, Cling to Dust, Fatal Push, Ancient Stirrings, Maelstrom Pulse, Thoughtseize. This is a cool deck. Now, this is a good idea. We've already seen many different variations of Eldrazi. We've seen Bant Eldrazi. We've seen Eldrazi Tron. We've seen Eldrazi and Taxes. And it's pretty clear that you can play a 3-color Eldrazi deck. It's not impossible. Or it is very possible, thanks to cards like Llanowar Waste, which is a dual. It's basically a tri-land, right? You can add 2 you can use the color mana, or you can just use the colorless to cast your Eldrazi spells. So it's like Jund, but just going big. It's like big Jund. I think this is a great idea. I think it's a great idea. I'm not super thrilled about the Tasigur because I don't know how well you can fill your graveyard, and in fact, I don't think you can. I think you do a very bad job of filling your graveyard. I'm going to take it back. You do a really shitty job about filling your graveyard. So I actually don't think Tasigur has any business in this deck. I would probably just play with a 4th Reality Smasher, probably. How many lands do you have? 22? Is that normal? Is that normal for a list? Would Eldrazi do that? How many lands does Eldrazi have? Just like raw lands. 24. Play more lands. This is too few. You have a high curve between Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher. You need to. I think you should have more lands in this deck. What those lands are, I don't have a damn clue. Figure it out. But that would be my recommendation. So how many black mana sources do you have for these Liliana the Veils? We've got 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 15. Not a lot. Liliana the Veil is not a turn 3 play. It is a turn 4 or 5 play. So you have two options. You have to add more black sources, like a lot more. Like maybe even have one less forest, one more swamp, or one more way of getting the swamp. And or you dump the Liliana the Veil. I have nothing against Liliana the Veil in this list. Liliana the Veil is not what it used to be, but maybe in a list like this that's more powerful and can really close out games very quickly. Maybe Liliana the Veil is much more effective here. I love Tarmogoyf. That's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. You have something like really good to play on the early turn of the end. You go like turn 1 Fatal Push or like Thoughtseize, back it up with Tarmogoyf, and then like, you know, it just gets worse after that. You know, your creatures get a lot bigger very quickly. So you don't have the mana for, because you need double black. Let me put it like, to get double. What does Frank Carson say? Frank, how many colored sources do you need? So Liliana the Veil, you need 18 black sources to consistently get Liliana this is here, Liliana the Veil. You need 18. It says right here, 18 black sources to consistently get Liliana the Veil out on turn 3. Otherwise, it's not happening. Oops. So where are we here? We're very far. 4, 5, 9, 11, 15. Not even close. So you need to add... Well, but we said we need to add more lands. Maybe add one less forest, one more, I don't know, Overgrown Tomb? Where's the Overgrown Tomb? Add a second one? And add 2 more black sources on top of that. I don't know, maybe like regular fetch lands like Verdant Catacombs to make that Liliana the Veil playable by turn 3. Otherwise, Liliana the Veil is going to be a turn 4, turn 5 play. That's not where you want to be, because you want to be playing your Thought-Knot Seers on turn 4. You want to be playing your Reality Smashers on turn 5, or this thing on turn 3. This thing on turn 4, I should say, in the times that you have Eldrazi Temple. So I don't know. Keep that in mind. So anyway, that's the only feedback I have for this list. I think it's really creative, and I think Eldrazi should be taking other directions. Look, you got Veil of Summer, Plague Engineer, Lady Light of the Void, Collector Oof, Collective Brutality. Fantastic sideboard. Really, really focused, powerful sideboard. Anyway, thanks for sharing. I'm going to pick a list. I'm going to try to pick a list from a name I don't recognize. Or did I just pick this one? Okay, so I will... This one is coming from Perico CS. It is a Thopter Gifts deck. All right, so 1 Snapcaster Mage. Okay, I understand, because you're a Gifts deck. Elish Norn, Iona, Fatal Push, Noxus Revival, 2 Opt, 3 Path to Exile, 2 Serum Visions. I have a feeling you probably want these to be in higher numbers. This is a weird thing to have as a 2 of. Like, you need to make the rest of the deck more consistent, you have to have more of these. Collective Brutality, 1 Mana Leak, 1 Mission Briefing, Muddle the Mixture. What are you getting for 2 mana? Well, I guess you can get the Snapcaster Mage. 1 Lingering Souls, 3 Thirst for Knowledge, 3 Gifts Ungiven, 1 Supreme Verdict, 1 Wrath of God, 1 Unburial Rites. Okay, so I think I see your situation. you want to play more of these, but you want to have the ability to select them with gifts ungiven sometimes. So this is what I would say. Play one less Serum Visions, play one more Opt. Opt is just like unanimously the best cantrip right now in Modern. So you'll still have a one of Serum Visions available to tutor for with gifts ungiven if you ever need to, but you'll maximize on the better cantrip on Opt. So I would definitely lean more on the Opt side. Artifacts, we have Engineered Explosives, Sword of the Meek, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Progress, 3 Thopter Foundry, Search for Iskandar Detention Sphere. I really can't say anything about the mana base too much. I'm just gonna pray that it's good enough. You have a lot of card draw, so you can smooth out your draws. Spell Snare, Negate, Ruined Halo, Snapcaster Mage. Again, I can't really speak very much to the sideboard. I mean, you got a lot of good, powerful cards. That's great. So one card that's missing from here. There's a few cards missing from here, I think that there should be. There might be. You might want to have one Urza in this deck. It complements a deck like this. Well, maybe it doesn't. You don't actually have that many artifacts in your deck. But if I don't know if you're aware, but it creates infinite it creates an infinite combo between Sword of the Meek and Thopter Foundry. So you might want to consider having one Urza in the deck. You also might want to consider having at least one. What is the card? Whir of Invention, which is a tutor for artifacts, so that you can tutor for your Thopter Foundry for your Sword of the Meek, and you just have it as a tutor target for gifts ungiven. Overall, I think this is pretty cool. I don't know if you need the mission briefing. Choose an instance or sorcery card in your graveyard and you cast that card this turn. I know it's like an extra Snapcaster Mage, but I'm not particularly impressed with mission briefing. Fatal Push. Do you need Fatal Push? Is that important when you got like Wrath of God and Supreme Verdict and stuff like that? Maybe. Lingering Souls looks like a really bad card here because it's like a value card, but I think this sort of deck is trying to go over the top. Lingering Souls seems more like a sideboard card if you need to bring in against the grindy decks, but like game one, you just want to blow them out with Iona, Elish Norn, and really powerful cards. This doesn't seem like you get one shot at Lingering Souls, you put it in the graveyard, you make 2 tokens, like who cares? So this doesn't look too strong. So like I would have Urza over Lingering Souls any day, for example. Oh, Lingering is there to return the sword? Whenever a 1/1 creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Sword of the Meek from your graveyard to the battlefield, then attach it to that creature. But you just have 3 more Sword of the Meek. Or, what else? What else? But you just need Thopter Foundry. You just sacrifice, actually, you don't have many artifacts. Like, you have very few artifacts in this deck. I think you should just play with a 4th Thopter Foundry. Or, like I said, play with the Whir of Invention. You just play with the Whir of Invention. Whir of Invention in some artifact, like Thopter Foundry, and boom, you sacrifice it, and you get Sword of the Meek back. This is a bad way to get Sword of the Meek back from the graveyard. Just play this. Just go all in on this. I'll tell you this much. There is not a single Thopter Foundry deck out there that plays Lingering Souls. Not one. They don't play this card. I've never seen this card. That's why it looks so bizarre. Isn't Elish Norn a non-bo with the combo? How? Elish Norn pumps up your... Oh, I see. Well, you can pick one or the other. I like Elish Norn. It's like a bomb against... Elish Norn can win the game by itself. Elish Norn knows what it's doing. So I don't mind Elish Norn really actually in this sort of deck. Because I mean, if you have an Elish Norn out, you're probably winning. Your opponent is in like bad shape overall, in my opinion. I could be wrong though. This stuff dies to removal. Everything dies to removal. You can't play it. Merfolk dies to removal. I'm not gonna not play Merfolk, but anyway, my point is get rid of Lingering Souls. Play maybe a Whir of Invention or a Urza. More Opts. Get rid of Mission Briefing. Play like again Whir of Invention or Urza. And hopefully that is going to help you. Or you can also play an Emery in this deck. One Emery might be... Oh, no, maybe... No, okay, scrap the Emery. I don't think you have enough artifacts for Emery. There's just too few here. Just way too few. Anyway, thanks for sharing the list. I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool package that you got going on over there. So I think that's going to be it for today. So don't worry if I didn't answer your question, if I didn't get to your deck list, come on over again. We do this every single day. Twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Appreciate you all coming out and sharing your lists. I hope it was valuable to a lot of people. Yeah, so I hope that was some good stuff. And yeah, we'll do more deck lists in the future. We do it almost every single day, every weekday on Coffee and MTG. So until then, I'll see you at the next cup. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. And just a randomly show. We're going to thank all my patrons and the subscribers subscribed on Twitch. We're also going to thank our sponsor, the ManaBase.com and Mana Traders. Can't forget about the wonderful sponsors. So thank you very much again, everyone, for the discussion. I loved it. And I will see you in the next cup. Take care. Bye-bye.